Question 100. This is a funny one. Should you ever take an ex back who dumped you?
Well, the reality is, I'd say probably 80% of the guys I'm talking to are that's how they first find me is they've had a girl they were dating or maybe a girlfriend or maybe even a wife that served them with divorce papers and they did not want to get dumped. And a lot of guys are like, I thought things were fine. I didn't see it coming. They'll actually hear that so many times. And what's happened in those cases, because you see a lot of idiots going, an X is the X for a reason. You don't take the back, like a moron. But you got a dude that's got, he's gone through a rough patch in his life, and he acted like a beta male, or he lost his job, and he's not taking care of business. And his wife had been telling him for a long time, and he didn't get his act together. And then she serves him with divorce papers, and that guy often will come to me. He's like, I want to save my marriage. We tried counseling and therapy, and she still wants the divorce. And what I get him focused on is displaying attractive masculine behavior again. And these guys are able to put their relationships slowly over time and their families back together. Or the guy that finally gets a shot with his dream girl and they go out on 3 or 4 dates, they have sex a couple of times, and then he just gets all dopey and loses his center and starts acting like a girl, and she friend zones him or breaks it off and maybe starts hanging out with her ex again, or some guy that she was dating that kind of disappeared on her a few months ago. And so she's more emotionally bonded to that guy. And so in that case, I get same thing. I get the guy to display the attractive behavior. Get in the gym. Get focused on your mission and purpose in life. Go out on other dates. Change your wardrobe if you need to. Go out and focus on building a good life and lifestyle for yourself. And especially as you are dating women and you've got friends and you got girlfriends that or they're girlfriends of your friends or family or whatever, they're taking pictures with you, you're out on dates or just hanging out fun with other pretty girls. And then your ex is creeping through your stories, or the guy that she was, that came back into the picture when you were acting like a beta male and she blew you off. Now he blows her off for whatever, because he maybe wasn't really into her. And now several weeks have gone by and she thought, that guy really was a good guy. And he's like, wow, it's like, that girl's really pretty. And she's been thinking, it could be your hot sister. She don't know. She's looking at your social media profile and she starts filling in the blanks for herself. And she's like, he was a really good guy. Maybe I should give him another chance. Maybe I was too harsh, or maybe I judged him harshly, or maybe I was mean. Maybe I reacted. And then, because at that point, her feelings of attraction are starting to return. And then she reaches back out and is like, hey, or hey, sends a funny meme or something like that. And when you've told her, hey, I'm not interested in friendship or whatever, because a lot of times those guys get friend zoned, then she reaches out, you assume she wants to see you and invite her over to make dinner at your place. Just like the things I talk about in 7 Principles to get an ex back, hang out and have fun and hook up. And since you're the one that got dumped by her, she friend zoned you, she blew it up, she wrecked the relationship. Therefore, it's her job to fix it. You are open to the possibility of her fixing it and winning you back over. That's what your mindset needs to be. And then you get together, she comes over for dinner or whatever, you hang out, have fun, hook up. She leaves, kiss her goodbye, call me later, you tell her. Because you're not going to call her, you're not going to text her, she friend zoned you, she blew you off. Oftentimes it's because the guy was needy and he over pursued. So he literally chased her out of his life. And so if you chase her away, you have to let her come back to you at her pace. That's why you let her do all the calling and texting and pursuing, and be excited when she calls you. And what I always say in 7 Principles Get an Ex Back is if she comes to your place 3 dates in a row and you make dinner at your place and you hang out and you have fun, you hook up all 3 times, then you can meet her out and pick her up, but let her do all the pursuing. And when you do that, as the weeks go by, just like I talk about in the book, her attraction returns, her calls and her texts and her messages and you spending time with her will get to the point where you're pretty much together every day. I mean, you obviously go off to work and stuff, but at the end of the night, she's coming to your place or you're going to hers, type of thing.
Well,
it's a natural process.
I feel like in certain instances,
I feel like
people don't change usually. Like if you break up with somebody for a reason, they don't change.
True.
People
don't change who they are, but
expect
these
them
guys
to change easily too.
These guys can stop displaying the unattractive behavior that turned the girl off. And so what happens is when she does start to come back, she gets the best version of him. She gets the guy that understands the old beta male behaviors that he was exhibiting that were making her sick to her stomach because he was acting like such a wuss. And so now he's acting like a mysterious
The only people that have read your book
What's that?
are gonna
Exactly.
be
That's why it says
way.
3% man.
Yeah.
So most of the 97%ers are no. You could give them the book and they're like, I don't have time to read it.
No, because
but as soon as they
we've
get
all
dumped,
been through it,
or they get served with divorce papers, then they were like, what's that dude's name? What's that book?
Yeah.
Yeah. From
They don't
my
change.
experience when it comes to an ex who dumped me and then comes back, I know people who have gone back together and they're stronger than ever, and the chances of that happening are possible, but you can't always think that it could happen to you. So, but if you want to take the risk, go for it. But when it comes to stuff like that, if you do take that person back, that person needs to keep in mind that a person just doesn't, they don't change overnight. You know, if you expect them to just, you know, with a wave of a magic wand to just change, that's unrealistic.
Book, they implement it and they read it 10 to 15 times, they'll turn it around. Now there are other guys that'll read the book 2 or 3 times and they'll start sleeping with her again, and they're like, I don't need to read this book 10 to 15 times. Corey Lane's an idiot. That's ridiculous. There's no, it's a stupid thing to suggest a guy should read the book 10 or 15 times. And then so what happens is 3 or 4 or 5 weeks go by.
It's not getting
then what
it,
happens
it's
is he
keeping
slowly reverts back to the same behavior, and he turns her off for exactly the same reasons, and then he gets friend zoned or dumped or blown off all over again. And then, you know, a lot of these guys that do that will end up in phone sessions with me, because then they're really desperate at that point, because they realize that when they were following me and listening to me, they were able to attract her back. But one of the first things I always point out in the phone session is like, did you read the book? You know, where are you at? I mean, if they're brand new, obviously I don't expect them to read it 10 to 15 times. But a lot of the guys I talk to are like, oh, I've been following you for 3 years. I've been following you for 8 years. Like, how many times you read the book? Twice. I was like, and you wonder why you're struggling? But I watch your videos. It's like I say in pretty much every video, you can't cherry pick. It'll give you some attainable success, but you won't be able to sustain it. And that's what the problem is the guys are not understanding what the whole collection of what they're doing to turn the girl off and not act masculine. Because not only are they going to turn her off, but they're going to turn every other girl off that they meet in the future for exactly the same reasons, because they'll continue to display the same unattractive behavior. And that's why the guys that do well, when I read success stories, they're always reading it 10, 15, 20 times. They're serious students, because you want to get to know it so well you could teach a class on it. Because there's so many things that without realizing it, we've all been propagandized by the same movies and same TV, the same archetypes that are unnatural and wreck the sexual polarity between men and women. And this also includes gay and lesbian relationships as well, because the masculine essence is attracted to the feminine essence. And if the masculine essence acts too feminine, then the feminine develops feelings of platonic friendship. They're like, there's just no spark. There's no chemistry. Something is missing. You're a great guy, but I should be feeling something different than I am, because most women can't articulate it and they don't understand it. All they know is they don't feel right about the guy. And so when the guy follows my work and he acts like a man is supposed to act, it feels natural to him. It's more easy and more effortless to do it, because when you act that way, the women are going to be stuck to you like a sucker fish. They're going to be all over your ass. You're not going to be able to get rid of them. They always want to be with you, near you, around you, or in contact with you in some way.
At the end of the day, obviously, you have to change your mindset, and not just for that other person, for yourself. You don't know where life is going to take you. So if you maintain that mindset, say things don't work out with that person the second time, but you end up with someone else, you know, you have that knowledge and you can use that, and that would actually work out for you in the end. It's really, at the end of the day, all about yourself, but at the same time, if you were to go get back together with that person, they also have to have that mindset as well. It's not just it's more so that person's fault. Again, this is from my experience. Like, both people need to do their part in making it work.
Well, in most of these cases, I'm always assuming that we're dealing with a normal, healthy woman, not some mentally ill lunatic or narcissist or some girl that has lied and cheated on every single dude she's ever been with, and she never keeps her word about anything. What happens in most of these cases are these guys are dating girls that, to them, were their dream woman. To them, they're like, wow, I'm content with her. I don't walk down the street and feel like, man, that girl over there is way hotter than my girl. I really wish I could have somebody like that. They walk around and they're proud to have her on their arms. And when they lose somebody like that, it's very rare where we meet somebody we really click with and we connect with. And that's why those kinds of getting dumped, those sting the most because, I mean, typically I found 1 to 3 really deep, soulful connections you get a decade in life. And when you screw those up, it takes a long time to recover from it. And it's usually going to be several years probably before you meet somebody you click with on that level again. And so for these guys, especially a dude that's already in a marriage, or he was living with his girlfriend, they got kids, and they didn't want to get dumped, but they displayed unattractive behavior that caused them to get dumped. And that's why they're coming to me, whether it's the lesbian or the gay dude or whatever. They're coming to me because they want to get their significant other back. And especially with couples, it's like, well, almost in every single instance, they're already in couples and marriage counseling, and you got therapists begging the woman to sleep with her husband, and she's not feeling attraction for him. And I'll do one phone session with the lesbian or the gay guy or the heterosexual dude, and he'll start acting like a man consistently, and then their significant other is all over them and horny and turned on because it returns the sexual polarity back to normal in the way it's supposed to be.
Women like romance. Like, you want to be romanced. You don't want, your guy to come in and like, okay, let's do it. And like, waving his wee wee around trying to be funny. It's not funny.
That's fun too.
I mean, it's not funny.
Cookies are good.
It's not sexy.
Don't be hating on the quickies.
Like,
sometimes you need a quick
wisp your
release.
hand behind her ear with, and hold her head, kiss her softly. Watch while you're watching TV. Do it like that's what I prefer. But I mean, do that.
So Netflix and chill is a good date.
Yeah, I mean, watch a movie and then just look at her and then brush her hair
In other
behind
words,
her
take
ear.
some time.
Yes.
Don't just whip the boner out and say, let's get the bumping
like,
uglies.
hey, you like this?
Just gonna stick this in real quick and
okay.
get it done.
You got to get her engines warmed up too,
Check.
so she gets a
I
little
think I have a
moist.
stomach ache.
I also think clearly from the perspective of this guy, this woman has more of a independent kind of mindset, and she's like very headstrong. But I also want to give this advice. So if
But that's okay too.
yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm saying if we're gonna take it a different angle and say another kind of scenario, say this woman is just crazy and she's toxic or whatever. If you do end up, I'm saying from experience, if you do end up with someone who's that toxic, your emotional and mental health is important above all else. You don't need that. But again, this is like a different scenario.
We're assuming we're dealing with
people
healthy
usually end
people.
up with
Exactly.
toxic people because they look for the things that they attract in
Like
one
attracts
another.
like.
They're weak-minded people, and then that they do the same exact things.
Yeah, but this woman clearly sounds like she's healthy, But again, I'm just putting it in a different
I
perspective.
mean, sometimes you have to give each other an ultimatum, and if they don't change or they're something like that, then you got to get the hell
Then you
out
gotta
of
move
there.
on. Find yourself someone better.
So
Your well-being mentally and emotionally, like I said, is important above all else.
Exactly.
You don't need to drive yourself crazy over someone.
oh hell no.
Yeah, sometimes I get phone sessions with guys also that they're trying to track somebody back. The girl's cheated on them multiple times, and like,
Why would you?
it's like you can't fix that. I mean that, so there are cases where the woman's toxic, or she's a lunatic, or she's just doesn't value loyalty. She's constantly giving out her phone number to other guys when at work, or her here's my social media, and messaging guys and flirty texts back and forth, even though she supposedly has a boyfriend. That's the sign of somebody that's disloyal and definitely doesn't value the guy they're with. Or in other words, they're trying to monkey branch from one dude to the next.
Well, then
And you can apply what's in my book, and keep the girl attracted, and she'll probably be loyal and faithful as long as she's always in love and always pursuing you, like I talk about. But no guy can maintain that, including myself. Always, the longer you're together, you're gonna slip up at some point. You're gonna get complacent. You're gonna get lazy. You're not gonna do the little things that, especially you get kids or whatever, and it's like it becomes a boring, dull routine, and you end up becoming roommates. So these kinds of things happen slowly over time. So just like it takes time for a woman to fall in love, it takes time for her to fall out of love, and it's going to take time for her to fall back in love. And you can't rush it. You have to let her come to you. And if you're applying what's in the book, and especially like what we were talking about earlier about sex, she's going to be wanting it most of the time more than you do. And that's a good place to be. Because a lot of guys are like, man, we're having sex twice a month. I was like, ooh, that sounds like fun. And every time he's, gets close to her, I'm not in the mood. Not today. I have a headache. You didn't do this. You didn't get my car fixed.